Hello, and today we will be making this animation. It will be made in Scratch with a vector sprites, which are this kind of basically character model that can be easily moved around and turned. But before that, I'm going to tell you how I made these sprites, because I made these without any help. So here's the official Paper Mario Goomba, and then here's the one I made. How I made it was I just did this. I took the real official Goomba, then turned on onion skin, and then I slowly put together the shapes that would make up the Goomba. And then, as you can see, when it's done, it looks quite similar. That's the same thing I did with Luigi. And also, with this model, I have made, well, I guess you can call it a secret thing, because I have made it so if you remove the hat, you get his hair. Yes, it's creepy, we all know. And to block off this outline from going any farther, I just took another shape and put it over top because it would just look ugly without that. So anyway, on to making this. Alright, to start, what we want to do for this tutorial is we want to start with what we want it to be of. What I'm going to do is just a simple Luigi jumping on the Goomba, and it's getting squished. So to start that, we want to position them. So you want to select what you want, move, make it the right size, and just figure out how you want this to start. Flip it around, do stuff, and then once you're done, you've got Luigi just staring at the Goomba. Now, you can just do the same thing, or you can animate with other things, but for this tutorial, I do recommend you just make the same animation, but it doesn't have to be the same character. Okay, so now that we have our stuff ready, if they're standing on the ground, just select the entire thing and move it up a slight bit so that they're just floating. Then we want to go in the background, and we want to make a nice background. We start with the sky, which will be pretty simple. And then if it's too dark or whatever, you can change that around. And to get just right. And I am just gonna do green, and I'll make it look better at the end, but I just want to get this started, and I'll add more details later, but let's just get on to the actual good stuff. Okay, so first of all, I have flipped Luigi, so I just need to fix something, and it's fine now. Put his hat back on. Okay, yes, so I didn't make full on, well, I guess you could call them models of Paper Luigi and the Paper Goomba. With literally, you remove the hat, you got hair, which is just meant for not having it fully off. But anyway, on to actually animating. Now, if they're wearing a hat or anything, like I just said, you want it to be like removable. So then, like, if they jumped, it would kind of go up as they're falling and then land back down, like where it's like whoop. Okay, anyway, to start, we have our first frame. So then we right click and duplicate it. And then you either get the onion skin extension or just make it on turbo warp, but turn onion skin on. And then we want to start with our first movement. Now I feel like this Goomba doesn't really need to do anything until he gets squashed, so I can just group it together because he doesn't really need to move his joints around that much, really. So now we go back to Luigi. I feel like he should start by walking, so we gotta move his feet kind of just barely back and forth. And then we do that again, and we move them back and forth again, but then we slightly turn them to look like he just barely started walking. And then after that, I'm going to select the entire Luigi, move him just a little bit so you can see just barely the outline. And then we want to move his feet more. Don't forget to save. And then we'll keep repeating steps of slowly moving him forwards while moving his feet. And then eventually you want to just have him like bump up and down a little bit. Just if you're using Paper Mario style, you'll know how they kind of bump up and down when they walk. And we just go like that, duplicate. Okay. So now this looks like a good spot to start jumping. So we get right in. We start by getting the second arm and we send it to the back layer. We slightly position it so you can barely see it move, basically. That's all that really needs to change in this frame is just his fist. And then we slightly move him upwards and forwards. And we go back to his joints and we move his arm up and twist it a little bit like that. And we move his legs back and forward to get more of like a jumping leg position. And then we move his arm up again. And then it's pretty easy once you have him in his full jumping position by turning it the right way. And whenever you're moving his joints, you always want to make sure he's still moving, because if you just have a frame where his joints that move, it's just weird. And while you're doing these multiple frames, move the little bits of his body a little bit to make it show show that he's not just frozen and flying. And then we just keep slightly moving parts of him while moving him over to jump. I would keep repeating this until he's right above where you want him to land. Now, here is when he starts falling. We want to move his fist slightly down. So basically just flip it so his thumb is now on this side. And we want to move his hat slightly upwards and move his arm slightly that way. And just move his feet closer together. That's the first step. Oh yeah, like I said, can't keep in one space. So then we slowly move it down. And then we keep moving his hat up. And his fist down. And legs closer together as he falls. Maybe we curve him so he's falling in the way we want him to. And we don't want his arms fully down because I don't think anyone would have their arms just straight down as they're falling. And now once we finally come in contact with what we want to be in contact with, is when we want to squish the Goomba. So we move him slightly downwards again, and then we just kind of like move the Goomba down too. Kind of just like that. Now in this frame, we want to move his foot more like that. Move the Goomba slightly forwards, move Luigi down, and squish him a bit more. And then we keep repeating until he looks pretty good. And then when he starts getting closer, we want to start bringing his hat back onto his head. Like this. And bring his hat more down. Down. And also bring his arms down more. We want to bring his hat a bit farther down than it should be for about 2 frames, so then it can pop back up when he fully lands. So we just bring it up again. And then we just go like that. And then we kind of just like move his joints until he's where we want. And then after that, I'm going to make Luigi look down and notice what he did. So I select his head and curve it. But then it looks like his neck is popping off. So we select the head thing and just drag it down so it's still connected, this entire set of frames. Like that. And I think at this point, Luigi just should move his eyes down. And we'll just duplicate that same frame for a little bit, so you're just looking now. And now we're gonna make an exclamation mark pop up above his head. Now the kind of outline I want to use, we need to really zoom in for. And I'm gonna be using my finger for this. Oops. Just because I'm just better at finger drawing, and we want to just make a curved exclamation mark. I group it. We zoom back out and make the exclamation mark bigger. And then we'll just squish it like that. And then we'll zoom in. And then we'll bring the exclamation mark like that and move his hat up a little bit. And we do this until the exclamation mark is fully up. And then we'll make the exclamation mark pretty much leap off his hat. And then we'll start making his hat fall back down again. And bring the exclamation mark up at the same time. And then we just keep doing that until exclamation mark is gone, which I'll just delete at this point. And then we'll select Luigi, bring him back, and then slowly rotate his body. And then, after a few of these movements of Luigi jumping backwards off of the Goomba, we'll make him land. And we'll just keep moving him until he's back in his idle position. which will and should probably take a little bit. We might want to make his body pop up a bit more, because I kind of scrunched him together when he landed. And then we'll end it there. Now for the code. It's pretty simple. You go on green flag clicked, repeat, and then you want to check how many costumes there are, or in this case frames, and there's 81. So we do 80, one less, because the first frame switches when you click switch costume 1. Then we go P80 next costume. See, look at that. Isn't that nice? And then if you want it to repeat, we just do this code. And then for sounds. It is kind of hard to get them all synced, and maybe I'll do sounds for another video, but I'm just going to show music. So I'm going to do Super Mario. So choose your song, go green flag click forever, play sound, and then that's it. Hi, sorry about the stuffy nose. I have a bit of a cold today. If you want to use those vector sprites I did use in the video, the link is in the description, and I made them, so yeah. And Merry Christmas, and hopefully we'll have a Christmas video or short out soon.